Hey guys, we always love to hear from you at the Problematic Podcast. So if you've got a funny story or a problematic person in your life, feel free to email us at theproblematicpod@gmail.com, or now you can text us at 412-204-6943. We love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like and subscribe on YouTube. Let's get into today's show. Yeah. Welcome back, everybody, to the Problematic Podcast, Whitney.
Hey, what's up, Rita?
You know me, living the dream. How are you? Oh,
same as every week.
Okay. We'll take
We're here. We are still here.
We are here, and that is a huge accomplishment, given the amount of adulting that I've had to do and the amount of money I spent in the last 3 days.
God bless you. What's happening over there?
Wedding stuff, admin stuff.
Ding,
like
ding, 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 ding.
I had to, my passport expires like right after my honeymoon, but I didn't want to run into any issues, so I sent it off to get it renewed, but I actually need it back in like 10 days for another trip, and they make you send it in, so I'm like trying to expedite it, but after the fact, nightmarish.
I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. That sounds awful.
So much. And then I had to go to like a public building to get a new birth certificate. Which was an experience all in itself. Like it's been so long since I've been downtown in the public and had like a real encounter with somebody just yelling and screaming ridiculous things. It's been so long, but it was a very Philly moment. Other than that, I'm good. I survived.
You here?
I made it. So we
start a week.
Exactly. We start a new week. It's going to be better.
Yeah.
What you been listening to?
So I had the opportunity to my excited fingers.
Yes.
I am just going to go ahead. I know I talk about it every single week, but I'm just going to go ahead and embrace my old Black auntie self. I know. I have a house coat. I constantly wear a bonnet. I am constantly responding with this phrase.
Yes, auntie.
That is an auntie. Constantly drinking tea.
Yeah, it's giving me auntie.
With a used book, not too far away.
Again.
Take your shoes off at my house.
I'm happy that you are embracing who you are. I love and appreciate it.
I was at an event this past weekend, and I stumbled upon during this event a vintage copy of the best of one Ella Fitzgerald. And when I tell you, I screamed. It was $20, the best $20 I spent all damn day, all damn week, all damn month. And it came on the last day of April that I spent this money. And when I tell you, I am overjoyed. Like, I cut it on. First of all, DaBaby was excited too. Like, I don't even know. I'm like, have you been here before?
She's got a good soul. I mean, from the moment I met her, I knew she had a great soul.
She's very classy. She knows what she's doing. She's I
met her dad, so it makes perfect sense. Actually.
Yeah, her dad's all right. Her dad's a cool guy. But yeah, I cut it on and we were playing it, and she's sitting there just vibing. I'm like, okay,
she knows the good stuff.
Okay, so how about you? What have you been listening to?
All right, so not much has changed since last week. I have been still listening to Pusha T's Rock and Roll, the song I mentioned last week. So it's the Pusha T, Kanye West, and Kid Cudi, and it samples the Beyonce song 1+1. It's really, really good. Why are you being harassed? Lord Jesus. Anyway.
Everybody say hi to my husband.
Hi, Whitney's husband.
His name is Earl.
Hey.
He has appeared to say hello.
I could not. But yeah, that's what I've been listening to. And I've been doing a lot of painting over the weekend. So I've been listening to like old school music. So I was listening to Confunction, Love Train. It's the way it goes on Love. Yeah, that's like between that and Pusha T, it's like I was
It's a
selling
balance.
drugs on one end and I am convincing a woman to let me come over on the other hand. It's balance. I'm
It's
all for
balance.
balance. So
Yes.
yeah, that's what I've been listening to over the weekend. If you guys haven't checked out Pusha T's It's Almost Dry, and you really need the motivation to make yourself believe you can jump into entrepreneurial um, efforts, whether it be legal or illegal, I'm telling you that is the
Oh
soundtrack
Lord,
to listen to.
please be legal.
Please be legal, but I
Auntie
mean,
says.
Auntie says, Rita says, if it's not legal, study the law in your field of misfitness
We are not
and
encouraging any illicit
pray
or
hard.
illegal.
I feel like criminals who don't pray hard and criminals who don't have like real praying grannies
Grandmamas.
don't do as well. You gotta pray to somebody. You gotta ask for coverage before you throw your ski mask on. And I think that's what a lot of these kids are missing nowadays.
Okay.
They
Okay.
they, they ain't got good morals. They ain't got they praying grannies because the grannies out here working and twerking and stuff.
Working and twerking.
It
Hey.
just makes me upset. These babies need to be covered with something, and that something is not Chanel No. 5
I mean,
in bodycon dresses. My grandmother would never. But anyway,
never.
we are going to move on because I got two things that I need your help with before we get into the problematic people of the week. One, I need to walk back a point that I shared with you guys
What
a few months
happened?
ago. Okay, so
What happened,
I
friend?
I am here to say I'm not a perfect human being. I'm a very flawed human being. I'm a very problematic human being, and that's the name of this show. I am willing to admit that I was wrong, and I was wrong about one Ben Simmons. Now, as you guys who listen regularly know, I had some very, very harsh criticisms for Ben Simmons. And one of my biggest criticisms was that he was faking a mental health ailment in an effort to, one, get paid, but two, be absent from his basketball duties. Essentially, not work, but still get paid while he lets the fans of Philadelphia basketball down. In hindsight, after seeing him being traded to Brooklyn and watching this man, this number one draft pick, this 6'10", I don't want to call him a guard because that would imply that he can actually shoot the ball on occasion. After watching him be traded to Brooklyn and still not play all season, but still demand to be paid, I would like to take back my statement that Ben Simmons is not suffering from mental health issues. And I say that now because you got to be crazy as hell. You actually have to be insane. You actually have to have a mental affliction to think that you get to be afraid to play the sport that we pay you for. And that be a good enough excuse to not play. I absolutely 100% believe that Ben Simmons has some mental health issues. And here's how I justify it. He has admitted to Brooklyn after they lost in the playoffs and were swept by the Celtics. And for those who don't like basketball, I'm not trying to get too deep into sports because this definitely ain't a sports podcast. But he went to the team and said he's having some mental issues after the harsh criticism he faced after his failures playing for the Sixers in our last playoff series last season. There's some sort of mental block going on. And he's admitted that. And he believes that mental block is actually and physically impacting his back, which is hurting and sore. Whitney is blinking at me. Yes, you heard me right. His anxiety around playing because of criticism as an athlete is causing his back to hurt. If that ain't a mental illness excuse, at this point, I don't know what is. I feel like this man failed to do something. He was bad at something just a few times and decided, I'm too scared to be bad again. And that fear became so overwhelming that he may actually have some anxiety issues. My thing is, you just got to be crazy as hell to think, I'm too scared to work, but I still think I should get paid. So yes, I walk back my point. I apologize to Mr. Ben Simmons. I recognize, in my opinion, you are still a bitch, but you are a bitch with legitimate mental health issues. And I pray that they actually get better. You get the help that you need, and maybe you can be an asset to your new team. So happy that you're not on my team anymore. God bless and keep you. Again, I was wrong. I apologize. I can admit that. I'm a big person. See, Whitney, I was a big person.
You were almost there. You were almost there.
Where'd I go wrong?
I watched you go, and I was like, oh, look. Like, she's going to follow up on the things I said. And I was like, no, she's not. No.
Where did I go wrong?
She done kicked this man's ankles out while he was standing on the top of a hill and watched his roll down.
Soft ass ankles. No, I don't know. If you're going to be an elite athlete, and I'm not saying elite athletes can't suffer from mental health issues and can't suffer from anxiety, but the part of being an elite athlete is understanding that when you play on a stage, any stage, you're going to face criticism. You cannot pretend that this is not an aspect of your actual job. And if it is an aspect of your actual job, you can't let it cripple you from doing your job. That's like being a trash man or a sanitation worker and be like, oh, but the trash can juice just really, I can't work through it.
Just a little bit. Wait.
I mean, but you're not a sanitation worker. But if you were, you can't be like, oh, guys, I'm nauseous. This job I can't do.
This is not what I do.
But I still need you to pay me every 2 weeks. You can't do it.
So I'm going to say this. We don't know what he's going through.
We don't.
We don't know what the criticism is. My criticism comes into play. It's like, okay, so you have these mental health issues. You have these mental health concerns. You want to be a basketball player, right?
Right.
You make enough money to justify other purchases and things like that. There's these things called therapists.
Right. Mental health professionals.
And they will be more than happy. Like, you don't have to be just like us poors and like hope for the best, or like, talk to your friend that like got their mental health, like their psychology degree and things like that, or shovel out tons of money to go see a specialist. You can afford this.
So you can fly them out to you,
if for no other reason than your own mental wellness. If for no other reason, like, let me not say that. What I'm going to say, because I was about to give a bad example.
Wonderful.
It was a trash example. It was so bad. And I was like,
this
don't
is
say
the
that.
platform for it, but okay, fine.
No. It would get you and I canceled.
Okay, no, I don't.
No, it was bad.
Enough problems.
I swept that out the door because I could see how certain things can get perceived when you're trying to say something and it doesn't get, you're not saying what you think you're saying is what I was saying. Anyway, long and short. I'm not saying that he has to prove to us that he has mental health issues. All I'm saying is, like, if I have a toothache, I'm going to go to a dentist.
Right. And I'm not going to let it keep me out of work for an entire year.
I'm not like, and certain things, certain traumas and things like that, we do need to hold space for, and we do need to give grace for. But at the same time, you go to somebody because you don't want to stay in that place of being stuck.
Exactly.
Like, for yourself, not even for this career. Like, let's focus on Ben. Hey, Ben. Hi, this is Whitney. I don't know if you listen to this podcast. If you do, I'm sorry what Rita said. Anyway.
I'm going to invite him on the podcast. I mean, the worst he can say is no.
I mean, or not answer. That's his business. Ben, honey. As a person who has gone through a lot of trauma and who has had to have therapists and mental health professionals in my life guide me back to a place of wellness and a place of stasis, as I journey to a place of wholeness. If you are actually having these troubles, the best thing you could do is employ the use of a mental health professional, period. And
if need be,
if you're using, I keep going back to this because it bothers me as a person who has gone through this. If you're using this as a crutch to try to have a good payday, or if you're using this as a crutch to sit out so you don't get this criticism,
that's nasty.
That is not only nasty, it makes you a bad fucking person. It makes you a bad person to lie and say, I have mental health issues, when you have people who have gone through things that almost killed them,
right,
and are clawing their way back from something, and you're using their illness, their illness to garner some form of sympathy. Exactly. That's only, but I'm only saying this if this is a lie. If this is true, then Ben, get help. Get help. Don't just sit and say, oh, well, I have mental health issues, I guess you guys have to pay me anyway. No, that's not how this works, boo. Right. You have to go and see about yourself.
Right. But like, not about your basketball career, not about how you can get your money out of these teams, about yourself, because you still have to live with yourself. If you never play another NBA game again, you're going to do something that gets you criticized on a large scale because you're 6'10". Like, you're in the top 2% of tallest human beings in the world. People see you wherever you go. People are always going to remember who you are. You've played in the NBA. The criticism isn't going to stop. And one of my friends, Nairi, made a very good point when we were discussing, like, does he really have mental health issues or not? And he said there's a huge difference between not having any heart and having mental health issues. And I think the issue is actually both at this point, because I feel like not having any heart is having such a profound impact on him that he's making bad decisions. And bad decisions, we all know, because everybody has been there. You've made a bad decision that has negatively impacted your mental health. Mm-hmm. Everybody, whether you stay up stressed, you can't sleep, you have anxiety, whatever the case may be, panic attacks, all of these things are real. And I think we've all done something or lived in a way, even if it's just momentarily, where it's like, wow, that was bad. And it has had a profound impact on our mental and physical health. So I am not saying that it's not possible that at this point, this mental health might be shot. People ain't trying to pay you now. I'm sure you're not getting the endorsement deals. You're being criticized even more because not playing is causing more of the criticism that you say hurts your back. And man, I could just go on. I'll say this. Whitney said it eloquently. He has a duty to himself as a human being to take better care of whatever is negatively impacting his mental health. He has a duty to whomever he signed those contracts with to work through it so that they can pay him what they think he's worth. And I will leave it at that. Thank you, Whitney, for, being the kind, insane, and reasonable one.
You said a lot of things that weren't true about me, but continue.
So I have one more thing before we get into our problematic people. And it's a bit of story time. And I was having this conversation with my friend. It was an old encounter that I had. And I need you to tell me if I was the problematic person in this circumstance. Help me out here. All right.
I'm here.
This was a while ago now. Like, we're talking a long time ago. I had a friend, and we used to volunteer for this organization in Center City a long time ago. So we would end up meeting up a lot, having meetings, sending a lot of emails back and forth. She expressed interest in me. And I'm like, okay, I'll plan a date. We'll see how it goes. I never really looked at her like that, but I'm like, what's a date? We'll see how it goes.
Right.
So my idea of a date was just to hit like 2 or 3 museums and then go for like an early dinner all in Center City. But Center City parking is stupid. So I was ridiculous. Like, we'll park near one museum where there's metered parking and or not metered parking, but like parking lot parking. And I can leave my car there. We'll walk from one museum and then we'll take a bike ride to the next one. Bike rides were right in front of, cute, right? Right, you ride the bike together. We're like near the art museum. It's for those who aren't from Philly, it's a wonderful place to ride a bike. Very scenic, all that jazz.
Yo, can you talk to my husband?
I can. I
Give
don't
him some
know.
date ideas.
I just feel like maybe I can do that.
Help. That's what I'm asking for.
I can do
I'm
that.
not asking for nothing else. Just date ideas.
100%. I can do that.
Bless you. Continue.
So we go to the first museum. We walk to the second museum. After that, we're riding bikes to the next museum. And you know, the city Indigo bikes, they were like fairly new at the time.
Yeah.
So before this date, before we went out, I asked her, like, did she have any food allergies? Can she ride a bike? Is walking cool? All of those things you ask because you don't want your date to go sideways.
Yeah.
She tells me she doesn't have any food allergies to her knowledge and she can ride a bike. And she like laughed about it, like, yeah, girl, I can ride a bike. So I pay for both these bikes. Pay for the first one, kickstand it, pay for the second one, ready to go. And she's super quiet.
Oh shit. Oh no. Oh no.
Until
she can't ride a bike.
She couldn't ride a fucking
God damn it.
But here's the part that upset me more. You let me pay.
You watched me pay for this bike.
Now let me pay.
What the fuck am I supposed to do with these two bikes then?
Me pay for the bike. I asked you beforehand. Could you ride a bike? You know what was the most insulting part? And maybe it's like a little petty child inside of me.
What was the most insulting part?
I was like, girl, what do you mean we can't do this bike ride? She looked me in my eye on this sunny spring day in Philadelphia and said, I learned how to ride a bike. I just forgot.
You can't forget how to ride a bike. You might get a little rusty, but like after a few
you
pedals,
wobble a little bit.
Yeah, after a few pedals, you're back at it. What?
Whitney, my hand to the man. She looked me in these big brown eyes and said, I learned how to ride a bike.
You didn't. You didn't learn how to ride a bike. You did not. What bike did you think we were talking about, honey? A tricycle? Okay. A tricycle? What?
Okay, so now I'm upset. I don't want to go to no more museums, and I definitely don't want to go out to eat because I'm actually mad because there's no reason to lie about something like that.
You could have just said, no, I don't know how to ride a bike.
You could have just said like, boom. Yeah, no. And I think it would have been a cute date idea to like practice or learn how to ride a bike. Right. Or
no.
He looked me in my face. My mahogany face and said, I learned how to ride a bike.
You didn't.
I just forgot.
Yeah, I'm mad for you.
Unless you were in a car accident and you had like you sustained a horrible brain injury, I don't think it's possible to learn to forget how to ride a bike.
Someone's going right in and talking about, well, this big has that. We don't.
This is what.
That's not what we're talking about.
Don't write us talk about that, and then
I'm gonna hurt your feelings. I'll hurt your feelings before Rita will. Don't you write in and tell us that.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
This is funny, guys. This is funny. This is a joke.
So naturally, the date ends after that because now we got to walk all the way back to my car. We're not going to the third place because the distance to the next museum is too far. Like, that's why we were riding the bikes. And shortly thereafter,
taking her ass home.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it took a while because we were downtown, but we didn't end up going.
That must have been a quiet ride. That must have been a quiet ride.
I have a very difficult time concealing my anger. And I was only angry because you have to think, you have to be so stupid that you actually think that I'm stupid enough to believe that you forgot how to ride a bike.
Why wouldn't you just say, hey, I don't know how to ride a bike?
Even if you lied to me before on text, when we got to the Indigo station and you see me pull out one bike and then go back in my wallet to pay for the other bike.
I wouldn't have let you pay for the first bike. I would have been like, no,
Oh, girl, by the way, remember when I said I learned how to ride a bike? I didn't finish learning. I didn't.
I was really embarrassed.
And I left my training wheels.
I was really embarrassed that I don't know how to ride a bike. I should have just told you. I should have been upfront. I was really embarrassed because I really wanted to go on this date with you.
So after that, the communication slowly, and by slowly, I mean over the course of 3 days, just dwindled to nothing.
So that's not slowly. That's crashing.
I mean, what more conversation do you
want to talk about?
What right? What more conversation do I want to have with a person who
don't have anything to talk about?
Lied about something like that. So of
course, girl.
After having this conversation with my friends, because my friends are way better people than I'll ever be. They're saying things like,
you keep saying these things, but you're a wonderful person.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But not in this circumstance, at least I don't think, because I was like, I don't want to talk to this person, because if you lie about something like that,
right,
God only knows what else you'll lie about. I don't even want to work with you anymore. So they were like, well, maybe she was embarrassed.
Well, she should have said something. Like, communication is, no, you're not the bad person. If you're going to ask me, no, you're not the problematic person. You're not the bad person. The problematic person is the person who lied in the situation. Like, be a fucking adult. If you don't know how to do something, it's okay.
Just say that.
It's okay to not know how to do something.
Just say that.
People all around the world don't know how to do something. It's okay.
Right. And I wouldn't have judged you for not knowing how to ride a bike.
Here's the thing. It would have been an adorable date, even if you guys didn't do the bikes. But you messed up your fucking dates.
Right. I
feel like the Lord helped you out with that one.
I feel like he did too. And when I said this was years ago, we're talking like, I don't know, 2014, 2015.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yes, but it still upsets me. Like every time I drive by those Indigo bikes, I think
not every time.
Every single time. And I was downtown doing a whole lot of adulting, and I walked by the Indigo bikes, and I was like, I gotta ask Whitney, was I wrong for this?
You weren't.
Because why would you let me pay?
You were
for
not
two
wrong for
of
that.
them?
Like, why not just say on the, or even like if you see us walking up to the bikes, like, you know what?
Come clean now.
I need to tell you the truth. And like, people are receptive to stuff like that. Like, if I found out somebody told me like, hey, I was really embarrassed that I didn't know how to do this thing that it seems like everybody else knows how to do,
I would have understood.
Because I really wanted to go on a date with you. Like, come on, that will warm my, even though you lied.
It's cute.
Even though you lied, I'm mad about that. But
it's a cute approach to being a liar.
I understand. It's an adorable approach to being a liar.
But now you're just a sorry ass liar who can't ride a bike. Why? What are we doing this for?
I hope she learned how to ride a bike.
She probably still out here lying about it, to be completely honest.
I mean, it's fun.
It is.
I miss my bike.
I'm not judging people who can't ride bikes, because I've met a lot of adults who can't. But why? They don't lie about it. They be like, girl, I ain't getting on that bike. I can't ride a bike.
Okay.
And
we'd have a good laugh about it, and we move along.
And then we move on with our adult lives. But
you wouldn't be like, if I asked you if you knew how to swim, and you'd be like, yeah, I know how to swim, and then we go to a pool.
Yeah. Okay. No, because I got a story about that too. I know.
Is it my story of my husband jumping into? Oh wait, you were there.
I was there.
Oh, you were there.
We're not gonna talk about it on air.
No.
But I once met a person who told me not that he could swim, but he could swim enough to stay alive. And then he jumped in the water, and I wasn't seeing the alive part. It was actually very terrifying. And
he landed on a person and punched a person that he supposedly loved in the face.
2 people almost lost their lives that day. But I guess bike riding and swimming are those 2 things.
It's okay to not know.
That and people lying about they know how to drive stick. I once had one of my very near and dear friends say that they could drive stick because their grandfather drove stick. And I let them drive my car, or try to drive my car, and they couldn't even start it. They could not even start it. Because you got to push the clutch in to start a stick. Couldn't even start it. Didn't even realize.
Get out of my driver's seat.
Before you tear my clutch up. I ain't never in my black ass life seen such egregious lies. Just lies. Just lies for no reason. Who tells somebody they can ride a bike and they can't ride a bike? Just pure foolishness.
It's okay to not know, guys. It's okay.
It's supposed to be, but
It
y'all
is.
make it hard when y'all just be out here lying. But thank you for listening to my story and telling me that I wasn't wrong.
You weren't wrong.
I am
No.
very much triggered by the Indigo City bikes.
I'm sorry, friend. We're gonna have to make a better memory. We're gonna have to make a better memory. Listeners, well, no, because no, never mind.
No.
I'm not trying to tell people's locations or things like that. But why don't y'all go have a good bike ride in honor of
right. Send us pictures. We'd love to see them.
I want to see how joyful you are.
Also, feel free to share the stupidest lie anyone's ever told you.
Great.
Write to us at theproblematicpod@gmail.com. I would love to know the dumbest lie someone has ever told you, because I've seen some things. You wanna get into the problematic people of the week? I like when you start this segment because you always come with the really good, like, actual problematic people, and I'm always impressed.
I want to say that the problematic person is the person who just had a car accident outside of my house.
Oh my God, Jesus, fix it!
Because you know that there's that hill and people go down too fast, and then there's there's these there's a side street, and then there's a
like a driveway.
Ramp. Yeah, it's a ramp into a restaurant. And then there's a bridge. It's a lot going on over there. But yes, I just heard an accident. And if I don't hear my husband walking around to go see, because he, if I'm in IT, he's an uncle.
Yes, Lord. You're going to be out there directing traffic if you let him. Yes, Lord.
He grills in a hat, guys. Like, he grills in a hat.
With the Grill Master slides on.
He is literally just a pair of leather sandals away from full uncle status.
Absolutely. He sings Negro spirituals while he mans the girl. I've seen it with my own eyes. Just
he
painting
sings
a visual.
Negro spirituals when he's drunk and having a good time. I'm like, of all the songs to say,
not Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. How did we get
coming
here?
for it to carry me home.
Not back that ass up.
No.
Swing Low, Sweet Chariot.
And holy, holy, holy.
Good night.
Wade in the water.
Not a hymn. Not the hymn, Jesus.
He is the hymn book. You're gonna be mad at me.
Oh no.
I mean, I have problematic people, but they're minor. It's minor.
Let's hear it.
It's me being petty.
Well, we're here for petty.
So this one goes out to all the people who make nasty comments in my comment section. There was this one commenter who decided, I wrote a piece. I told you guys about the piece that I wrote about the white lady who decided to write about Black things. And I wrote a whole piece about it. And like I said, that piece did really, really well. I was very, very pleased. Y'all were connecting with me. We're vibing together. Boom. Someone has decided to come on and say, well, free speech, she's a white woman, she should be able to write. She's a writer. She could be able to write whatever she wants to write about. Free speech, free speech. To which I say, like, hey, free speech is an amendment that
and it doesn't make you free of consequences and criticism.
That thank you. Consequences for your actions. Yeah, you can say whatever the hell you want. But free speech is backed by the government. That means the government can't do anything to you. Meanwhile, in the real world, where we all live, you can get Mike Tyson. Okay,
these hands are available. Free speech, free pause, like they on sale.
Okay,
BOGO.
Buy one get one.
Anybody can
buy one get one. Okay. And so this lady, I don't have the comment pulled up in front of me because it doesn't matter, but she basically said something to the effect of, I wouldn't know anything. She was arguing with my followers because shout out to the people who who follow me, because y'all are a gang. You're dangerous. I love y'all.
You have a whole
Please don't hurt anybody. They are crazy and I love them.
I love it.
They are so kind and like thoughtful, but they are not about the shit. And I loved it. I'm like, look at our community. Look at us. Because they were in there giving the business before I could even get there. So the mean commenter, she says something to the effect of, well, I wouldn't know anything about this obscure, and I mean obscure writer, if it wasn't for this terrible piece of writing. And, if you're mad about white people writing about your stuff, then Black people need to step up. And so I didn't even address half of that. I focused on the word obscure. And I said, You say obscure like it's a bad thing. Like, I'm not here to be famous. I'm here to be impactful. And obviously that's working because I have small-minded folks like you talking.
I mean, you're here, aren't you?
You may not have heard about me, but you heard from me.
And you took the time to read my words. Thank you for your attention.
And make commentary to find my Instagram, because my Instagram's not tied to the piece that I wrote. You took time to find me.
She had to come look Instagram. For you. You didn't come.
You had to come looking for me.
She came looking for. And when I tell Whitney she's a celebrity, Whitney is like,
I'm not a celebrity. God, I keep telling y'all I'm not
famous.
I don't like it.
I'm just saying.
This actually happened at a really funny moment, because I was checking this comment, I was actually going to. I'm gonna say this, and I feel the judgment of my dear co-host and friend, who was in my wedding, who has met my child, who has held my baby, first and only born. I was standing in line waiting for my tickets for the opera, and the lady comes out, and she's like, "Whitney." Now, mind you, I'm wearing a mask. So literally, all you can see is my eyes and my hair, just that much. Just a little bit of space, just hair and eyes. And when she came, "Whitney, it's so good to see you. We have a drink ticket for you, and this, we have that." And
whoa,
it's really weird for someone who's obscure.
You are not obscure. Clearly, the celebrity encounters are real.
No, not real. No. But the truth of the matter is, that's the thing that like gets under my skin. Like, obviously, when we're talking about it, or when my husband brings it up, we're joking, so it doesn't that doesn't bother me at all. But I find that when I actually examine my own views of fame, it is not something that I want.
Yeah, it looks annoying and very ashy, like you don't get no peace, and then people be talking to you and yuck.
And like, I just saw Keke Palmer just tweeted like a few days ago that someone forcibly took a picture with her that she asked them not to.
What?
She asked them not, like, they asked to take a picture with her. She said no, not right. Like, I don't know if she was out to whatever she was doing. She didn't feel like being bothered. She just felt like being Keke. And I get that. Like, you're a human being before you're anyone's celebrity.
Right.
And this girl kept pressing. And when she still said no, the girl took a picture anyway.
Wow.
So I'm like,
nope, I couldn't live like that, because my lawyer would be like DaBaby's lawyer. They'd be like, "Damn, Rita done hit somebody else. It just doesn't stop."
To be fair, that's self-defense. To be fair, what you're talking about, not DaBaby, what you're talking about is self-defense. Yeah. So I just to the people, like, there was a lady who, right after I gave birth and I put up the birth video, and this lady was like, "I thought you were all about pro-choice. Why didn't you have an abortion?" And I'm like,
what kind of shit is that? What are we talking about?
When I tell you, people are horrid on the regular on the internet. Because here's the thing. The problem is, people feel that there are no consequences to their actions, so they can say and do whatever they want. I guarantee you she wouldn't have said it to my face. I guarantee you someone wouldn't call me obscure after reading my post and coming to search for me and then finding me. Like, you would never say these asinine things to people's faces. Never.
Nobody ever keeps that same energy.
No, they don't have it. They don't have it to do. What I find is that these particular people are just sad, lonely, and miserable people. They just want someone to be in this misery with them, and so they go out and try to make people miserable. But this is going to sound very auntie.
I'm here for auntie.
What I have learned is that other people's misery is none of my business.
Look, okay. Come on, somebody. Can I get Whitney came on this podcast to preach this week. If you missed church yesterday, welcome, because here we are preaching. I'm
wearing an anklet, so I feel very auntie.
I am about to put some money in the collection plate. Yes, Lord. She's telling the truth. That is none of my goddamn business. Okay. And sometimes I think I'm a psychopath. I honestly do, because I have to reevaluate. Have you ever been in a situation where, like, there's a conflict between you and somebody and they are completely, totally overwhelmed with anger, and you're just sitting there staring like, I don't get it. Why are you so upset? I don't understand. Like, why do you think your problem and your anger suddenly becomes my problem and my misery? I do not for the life of me understand it. Help me
business.
understand.
No.
None of my business.
It's not my business. Mm-mm.
And you're not going to make it my business, despite your best efforts. Once I determine that this is none of my business I don't care, you might as well go ahead and fix yourself something to eat, because
you should just go talk to the wall at that point, because I'm not even here. I'm trying to figure out what pleasant thing I'm going to do after you get out of my face.
Right. Amen. Oh, that is a fact. I have to share a brief Twitter encounter that I had.
What happened?
So I made a comment about the DaBaby, just to circle back to him real quick. He's not my problematic person of the week, but that poor child. So as many of you know, last week the video resurfaced, because we've seen it 2 million times, resurfaced of the incident in Walmart that led to his what was deemed to be a self-defense shooting, where a young man lost his life.
Jesus.
The way the DaBaby tells it is he was in Walmart with his daughter. 2 fans approached him, chose not to leave him alone after saying he wanted to be left alone. He was they asked him to come out to the parking lot to fight. He was under the impression, or he got the sense, that they were trying to rob him. He got into a tussle with one man. The other man pulled a gun. DaBaby shot him. This gentleman lost his life. This video came back out. I made a joke saying that DaBaby should be sponsored, and I wholeheartedly believe this. DaBaby needs an endorsement deal with Black Air Force Ones, because if anybody represents the culture that surrounds Black Air Force Ones, it's absolutely DaBaby. DaBaby needs an endorsement deal with he needs his own Black Air Force One, because he just embodies the energy associated with Black Air Force Ones. So shortly after that, I get into a comment exchange with a young man who is under the impression that this video is only resurfacing because the media wants to tear down African-American men who are successful.
What are you talking about? They're not going after Denzel Washington.
And that was my precise point. I can name 200 wealthy, rich, successful African-American men who got rich and successful from hip-hop. I can do that because that's how much I love hip-hop. Mm-hmm. I can name 200 who are, I can't name 200 who are more successful, but I can name 200 successful Black men who have become rich from hip-hop, whether they be hip-hop artists, producers, executives. Of all the people that they could choose to tear down, why would they pick the 2 shortest African-American men in hip-hop, being DaBaby and Tory Lanez? Why? Why? Are they after short Black men? Is there a tribe or an executive board that says we are getting rid of all of the African-American Napoleons in hip-hop?
What's happening? Or is it a Napoleon complex? What?
I 100% can point to legitimate instances where I personally feel like media is taking a turn or pushing the effort to attack Black men.
Absolutely.
And that, like, you know, the whole shut up and dribble campaign.
Don't get me started about that.
Very, very macro aggressive, not micro aggressive.
That was aggression.
That was a legitimate, you know, you've taken this group that is predominantly African-American and you're using the media to say, shut up, we don't want to hear what you have to say. But saying that the media has decided that they're going to just go out and attack all successful men under 5'7" because they just don't like them. Because there's 2 examples with Tory Lanez and DaBaby, and the only thing they have in common is they rap and they're short as hell.
And violent.
Like you said.
And violent.
Could have been Denzel Washington. And you know what? A few weeks ago, I sincerely felt that the media was being very, very harsh towards Will Smith.
Same.
I believe that what he did could have been handled better. But the way they vilified him in the media, absolutely. But what I'm not about to do.
No one ended up with a bullet with Will Smith.
First off, you can't say that the media is trying to tear this one Black man down, because unlike a whole lot of Black men in this nation, DaBaby was able to bring a gun into Walmart,
come on,
murder a man with it,
come on,
and walk away.
He survived.
He survived. Two, he wasn't charged.
What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here?
Sometimes, I come to this podcast to be problematic, and then sometimes I'll just be so emotionally overwhelmed with some of the nonsense.
You look exhausted.
I am exhausted because what, and again, unless there is this unknown shadow organization that is targeting little men in the music industry.
Little men, and I'm done.
Please help me understand why y'all believe that the media is focusing its attention on terrorizing Tory Lanez and DaBaby.
Here's the thing. They're not terrorizing anybody else. It's almost like DaBaby and Tory Lanez did something worth talking about.
It's crazy enough because
it's almost like it.
And people are saying the video only resurfaced because they want to down him, terrorize him, and they want to see him in jail.
I think the family wants justice.
The family does want justice because they believe that there was no robbery attempt. They were just fans who were trying to get a picture with the man. And all that may be true or not. The state in which it happened got to determine if that it was self-defense. I'm not sitting here arguing that. What I am sitting here and saying is nobody. If somebody wanted Tory Lanez actually in jail, give it 2 weeks and he's going to give you a reason. He's going to put his hands on somebody else.
He's going to give you a reason.
Shot someone 2 weeks ago.
He's going to give you a reason. You said Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez shot somebody 2 weeks ago?
Not Tory Lanez. I'm sorry, DaBaby.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, wait a minute.
Not Tory Lanez. I apologize.
Okay.
He got his court case coming up. I'm very interested to see how that goes. After listening to Meg last week talk to Gayle King. And y'all gave her hell for that. Joe Budden is like, why would she talk to Gayle King? She needs to come on a hip hop podcast.
Why?
Hip hop has always been especially cruel and harsh and unkind and unloving to its women participants. Why would she subject herself to that?
She, unlike Ben Simmons, she's obviously getting help and she has awareness. See how it works. And she's still traumatized. You could see it. You could see it in all of her demeanor. You could see her in like how she's like crying, like just remembering it. And this is an event that happened 2 years ago. She thought she was going to lose her life. Why would she put herself in the position where you slack-jawed?
Right. Whether you believe Tory did it or not, and like there's still some debate on whether or not she was shot, which is weird to me. I wholeheartedly believe.
Didn't we see pictures of her fucking feet?
I wholeheartedly believe that the woman was shot.
Don't we have text messages like saying like, "Oh my God, Tory shot man"?
Okay.
Don't we have these things?
But like I said, and I've said from the beginning, I am going to reserve all of my comments until the outcome of the case has been presented to the public. But I will say this. You can't judge a woman for the outlet she chooses to go to. No. When y'all have already made it very clear in hip hop that the disparaging, it's not a safe place.
You're not safe.
And nobody goes anywhere where they're not safe unless, they're making bad decisions. I will never understand it. The internet is a scary place. And unfortunately, incels, say this and I'm going to let it go.
What happened?
Wi-Fi access should be like triple rate for incels. They should have to pay like an automatic premium just to get some Xfinity in their house. A Wi-Fi for incels should come with a credit check, like a utility, and then it should be revoked at any time where the harassment just gets out of place. Why are incels allowed to be on the internet? Why?
Why are racists allowed to be on the internet?
You know what? That's a good point.
It's a whole lot of trash people. The problem is, because I know that I was thinking about this earlier today, and we blame these platforms for a lot of the hate and stuff like that. And to be fair, the operators of these platforms do have some culpability. But when when it comes down to it, Rita, it's just that these are just places where people gather. Like, if it wasn't going to be a social media, it was going to be in people's like barbershops and beauty salons. It was going to be
Backyard. You're right. You
it
are
was
right.
These conversations have always happened. It's just that social media has made everybody feel like they have a platform. Um, and so they don't bear any responsibility for the things that you say. And I'm like, okay, y'all, well, here's the thing. Y'all want the authority, you want this platform. Well, guess what? You have to take the responsibility. Now we need to start making some like law enforcement. We need to start having some ground rules, because y'all are just out here lawless.
Lawless, because the harassment that y'all give online, y'all would never do in public, because if you did, one, it would be punishable by law, but two, it would also get you killed. A lot of the stuff that people do on the internet would legitimately get people killed in person.
And y'all have lived so long. I think that's why everybody's like appalled when, like, you know, a thing like a Will Smith or a Mike Tyson happens, situations happen, because they're so used to having
consequences for dumbass actions.
None. And they can't believe that, oh my gosh, you know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, no, words hurt, motherfucker.
Words will get
and guess what?
Jaw dislocated.
Guess what? I have a list of words that are fighting words. So if you say them to me in my face, we scrapping, we tussling.
We are tussling now.
I have a hair tie in my bag. These earrings come
off. Listen here.
I'll have Vaseline, but I have Aquaphor. Whatever I have to do to make it work.
Which is just Vaseline on steroids. It absolutely is. Aquaphor, get with us. If you'd like to have some ads in this podcast, hit us up. I tweeted Silk Milk because their cashew milk is delicious. I was like, y'all need to let me be their spokesperson. They're like, we'll write to you and let you know. Please get back to me, Silk, because I could be your biggest spokesperson for cashew milk, because it is delicious.
I've never tried it, but
you should.
Cashew milk,
fewer carbs, sweeter, but no added sugar. It's amazing.
So I have a weird thing about getting milk from a nut.
You know what? We can just go ahead and end the podcast here if you want to act like that. We didn't have to do that.
I'm just saying. My mother swears by almond milk.
She should try cashew. It's amazing.
I have a weird thing. God gave us like all of these things to be milked, and then we go to nuts. And it's just like nuts and beans, legumes. Like, it's gonna be pumpkin milk next. Like,
no thanks.
Listen, you know how much the whites love. Sorry, shout out to the whites.
Shout out to the whites
that we like. The whites that we like. The good whites.
Non-problematic whites.
We love y'all. We love y'all. But you know that there's a certain select group of whites who enjoy pumpkin so much they will figure out how to milk one.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now.
It's gonna have a slight orange.
Y'all have been pumpkifying a whole lot of things over the last few years. I don't know. The rebrand PR team for pumpkin has been doing its damn job, because y'all pumpkin spice the life out of everything between September and Thanksgiving. And that's fine. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need any more additional pumpkin flavored things.
Mm-hmm.
Pumpkin flavored Coca-Colas, pumpkin flavored seltzer waters, all of those things. Nobody asked for that.
I don't want that.
I don't. Nothing else. No pumpkin milk. That just sounds like a stomachache. No. Mm-mm. But cashew milk by Silk, you guys y'all need to get with me, because I love it. I swear by it. I've been making smoothies with it. It is so delicious.
I'll try it.
Please do.
I will give it a try.
Get back to me. You're gonna love it.
I'm trusting you on this one.
I appreciate your trust. I have one more issue for you.
What's wrong?
I have one more problematic person.
Oh, I thought we were talking about more nuts.
No, we're not talking about more nuts.
Sorry.
I have one single issue for you, or problematic person, and that is Doc Rivers. For those who don't know who Doc Rivers is, he is the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. And as Sixers fans may have heard, Joel Embiid is out indefinitely, contender for MVP, the best center in the game right now, if you ask me, and a whole bunch of other people, dominant player, a force on the court. Yes, fracture.
This is sports podcast, but the way you talk, it could be.
After receiving an elbow from Siakam of the Toronto Raptors, we learned that he has fractured his orbital bone again, but a different one, like the other one. After already playing on a torn ligament in his shooting hand, he's fractured his orbital bone. He's suffering from a concussion. It's very unlikely to play anytime soon. And that's huge because we're in the playoffs right now. We're about to play the Miami Heat, who are a really, really good, solid, scrappy team. So we need him. And I would like to say a big, what the fuck are you doing to Doc Rivers? Because when you're up 29 points, you don't leave your star player in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes to go. You sit him, you rest him, you let him stand on the sidelines and wave his arms to the crowd so he can get his boos from the crowd, and you sit him down. If he's not in the game when we're up by 30 fucking points with 4 minutes to go, he doesn't get hurt. We stand a better chance against the Miami Heat. So Doc Rivers, they've been dragging your ass for bad coaching decisions since the beginning of your career. And it's like every year, you just keep passing out bad decisions for us to judge and criticize. And
you don't have to do it, Doc.
It's very disappointing. I know this sounds super cheesy, but I'm really praying that Joel Embiid comes back with one of them cool ass Phantom of the Opera masks that he had last time he fractured his face, and he's willing to play through it, because I'm not wholeheartedly convinced that we can win a series against the Miami Heat without him. So speedy recovery to the man with the broken face and the torn hand. I hope that he can make it back. And Doc Rivers, I hope that you get a mentor and get your shit together, because that was unnecessary. That's my problematic people of the week, people. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Friendly reminder, we want to hear the dumbest lie that you've ever been told.
Please send us these stories so I can scratch my head.
Please send us these stories. You can always email us at theproblematicpod@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I pray that you all have a great week. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, wait. No, I gotta stop that.